I am 29 male and my fiance 27 female. Slept with her ex 4 months before engagement.
What do I do? Why would she do this? She doesn't know I know yet. Her ex-boyfriend's now ex-wife was the one who told me. It was 4 months ago and she had told me he was back in town and they had talked once. It was for closure because their relationship had ended badly. That was the extent. Apparently they were talking on and off all summer and finally had sex when I was out of town with my parents. I guess she was the one who reluctantly ended it. He had a conscience and told his wife everything and they are in the process of a divorce. How could she do this and still look me in the eye and say yes? Probably B, you had cheated on her twice already, so she thought it was a no big deal. She has already forgiven both times. Or she actually had resentful feelings about those times and that pushed her over the edge. In any case, it isn't healthy. The relationship seems to be over. It was already over when you cheated on her first. It probably had some chances of surviving, but the second time probably already hit the nail on the head. It's better to judge stop, without blame and guilt. Otherwise you'll guys keep making these mistakes and being resentful and never be happy. I agree with this. When I was cheated on twice by an ex. The first time hurt so much, but I legitimately forgave him and moved on. The second time I said I forgave him and tried to move past it, but in reality I never got over it. Him cheating on that second time, I carried that pain for years even after the relationship. It's not an excuse for her cheating, but it doesn't sound like there's any trust in this relationship. The only way to move forward is to be completely honest with each other and have couples therapy. There's nothing you can do. You've finally received your karma. So chalk it up to the saying, you reap what you sow. You may not have wanted this to happen, but shit happens. You can't be hurt because she most likely was hurt by you too. But was willing enough to forgive you and keep going within the relationship with. So do what you consider would be right. Think about it from her perspective from the first time you cheated, and then think about how you feel and look to what your solidified answer will be. No one can make this decision but you. How could she do this and look me in the eye and say yes? I don't know. How could you do it to her in the early stages of a relationship when you were still forming trust between each other? You expected her to forgive you, right? Why is it any different when it's her, now? She did it because she didn't recover from you cheating on her, didn't forgive or forget, and wanted to get even without upsetting the apple cart. Opportunity arose, and she took it. You've got to decide whether you surface it up, and discuss it with her with an open mind, or just go NC and serve her with papers. I'd discuss it, but I'd discuss anything. You do you. How could she do this and still look me in the eye and say yes, dude, you did it first? Imagine how you felt when you did it, and that's how she felt when she did it. You say you guys moved on, but it's almost impossible to do that. How you're feeling now is how she felt then. Now, you have the same choice she had. You can stay and forgive her, or you can leave. Up to you. This relationship is a disaster. You cheated early on and introduced the idea of weakened fidelity. She responded by cheating herself because in her mind it was likely revenge even if she would never tell you. Y'all aren't meant to be together. It's time for both of you to move on. I think you just dodged a bullet. It's fortunate you found out now that she is a cheater and a liar, instead of after the wedding when she starts fucking her coworkers or guys she meets in a bar while you are out of town. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Run now and don't even consider forgiving her, no matter what bullshit she tells you. I'm sorry you have to go through this heartbreak. It's going to hurt for a while, and honestly you just need to dump her and go no contact. Best wishes to you. I'd say do as the ex-wife and get out of here. Why risk the headaches and a life of doubting your partner? Yes, it may be a one-off. But on the other hand, you now know that she is capable of doing that to you, so she could do it again. Plenty of fish in the sea, some that won't be unfaithful to you. Edit. Okay, just saw your other post, and I'm rescinding my previous piece of advice. Do everyone else a favor, stay with her. You deserve each other. You can't take the moral high ground when you've done the exact same thing to her. Why did you cheat on her twice? You're a cheater. You should know why she did what she did. To be fair though, she might be resentful of what you did and this was the result of the impact your own actions had on her whereas you were doing it just 'cause. Not saying that's necessarily right for her to do but I sure don't feel sorry for you. She was making sure she was marrying the right guy by trying on his penis again. That tells you two things. First, she was already unsure about you as her future husband, and two, since she's been able to lie so efficiently to you, you will never trust her again. Get the ring back. Disentangle any financial things in your lives, that includes leases, shared utilities, any joint checking or credit cards, and separate completely. While I don't believe the adage, once a cheater always a cheater, I do believe that your fiancé and you need to be apart for at least a few months if not forever. Edit to add. Get a thorough STI check first thing Monday. You could be carrying something that won't potentially show up for years. Also, no matter what, don't fuck your fiancé until you've both been completely checked up. Remember, she just didn't cheat, she has endangered your health along the way. You've got two options. Forgive her like she did to you twice earlier in your relationship and move on, or do everyone a favor and break it off. Don't bring a kid into this world and ruin their life because you couldn't make a smart decision. Go and better yourself. No one likes a cheater. It depends. And there's a lesson here. There have always been some who believe that the finish line is crossed at the altar, and prior to that, you can, and probably should, do what you have to do to be certain that a lifelong commitment to your intended is what you're finally and unreservedly ready for. Thing is, both parties really need to agree on boundaries when they first become a couple. Clearly Op thought that he and his fiancée were already exclusive. But did they ever actually decide together that they were exclusive, or not? If they had no such discussion, while I understand why Op might be shocked and upset, nevertheless we can't say with moral certainty that any promises were broken. The lesson is that, while the mating game is played the world over, the rules vary widely from one society and culture to another, one family to another, and even one person to another. Before you play the game, it pays to know the rules. Hope this helps, and best wishes, Op, whatever you decide. I know this song. I've been cheated on by my wife and I do know that forgiveness is sometimes it's hard but it can be done if you both love each other, then faith in that love will move up a whole bunch of mountains. So forgiveness shouldn't be anything if two people love each other, not to say it wasn't wrong and it doesn't need to stop. Honestly, how can you look in the mirror knowing you've cheated on her twice and now are freaking out because she's returned the favor? That sick feeling in your stomach, the heart-wrenching hurt that someone you love would do that to you? You've done that to her twice. I don't think your relationship will recover, but remember this feeling and think about how many women you've likely done this to and never pull this shitty behavior again. Grow up, fix yourself, and then try to start a relationship with someone and don't cheat on her. You cheated, she cheated. Both fucked up. Don't be so surprised how she could have done it when you did it twice. Op. If you still love her, go to marriage counseling and both make a list of boundaries. If it doesn't work after that, then break it off. If you can't realize how fucked both of you are, just end it and move on. Probably shouldn't cheat again though. Karma will just come back and bite you in the ass again. It's crazy how they always look you in the eye. I wonder how she looked him in the eye. I bet he didn't even know, because to the ex you or some guy that she was seeing while she was still reconciling the relationship with him. All the horrible stories I read this evening, the takeaway should be we should really cherish how we treat one another in life because we are living, loving creatures and these things hurt. I mean, Op should have definitely included the fact that he cheated. It's obvious he wants us to feel sorry for him. However, people who are saying that's karma. What? If it's true he cheated 6 to 7 years ago and she agreed to stay in the relationship, it makes no sense for her to cheat 6 to 7 years later and agree to get married. If it's revenge, that's stupidly petty. The relationship should have just ended then. People make it sound like she was planning this long-ass revenge. If you can't get over the cheating, you have to be honest about it, not freaking get engaged. He obviously fucked up for cheating, but she fucked up for letting the relationship go for so long. Clearly they got to a place where it was repaired enough to get engaged, but it seems they were both kidding themselves. 26F here. Do not marry her. She is selfish and cruel. Was engaged with you and seeking out her ex-boyfriend. That alone is a big red flag. Then she kept you in the loop about talking with him as a means to keep your guard down. All along, she was secretly reconnecting emotionally and mentally. Lastly, she sleeps with him, reconnecting physically. I suggest you be sneaky too. Ask to see her ring. Tell her that you need to make sure of something about the setting. Explain you heard something dishonest about the jeweler. Once the ring is in hand, tell her the only problem was who was wearing it. Get the ring back. Walk away. She not only betrayed you but has been lying to you for 4 months. Are you sure this the woman you want to marry? The woman you want to build a life and put your trust on? I do not you but I would run away from her. She is not worth the efforts. Dump her. She is toxic. 2 wrongs don't make a right. She should have ended with you back then, but forgave you instead. She planned to be with the other guy and you are still thinking about it. Maybe you should both be together cause you can't think straight. Just confront her and ask if she will do that again. Think if you would repeat your cheating like you did, cause he's back in town and getting divorced and not giving a rat's ass if you're engaged with her. Reading the comments reveals you're also a cheater. Hey, there are worse things in life but in a relationship, there has to be respect for each other. Think the need to cheat shows the person hasn't met the one yet. Once you meet that person you want to spend the rest of your life with, the thought of cheating is truly heartbreaking. End the relationship, and find that person. Do you know it's true? I mean, do the details sound true? How would the ex know it's for closure? If she did it then she probably did it for the usual reasons. She is still selfish and egocentric. Cheaters always are. Assuming it's true, and you should ask her, telling her how you know, then be happy you found out this before you married her. If she is cheating on you before you are married, do you really expect her to be faithful afterward? Perhaps you two should postpone the wedding and visit couples counseling to find out if you should marry one another? Wait, you cheated too? Neither one of you are ready for the commitment of marriage. Just break up. Obviously neither of you are really in love with one another. Ask yourself, why wouldn't she tell me? Why would she cheat on me? Is our relationship going well? You cheated on her twice and left that aside from your story, what were you trying to gain? Approval of people calling your fiance names to make you feel better? What she did was wrong but it almost seems justified by the type of person you appear to be. Cheating is wrong no matter what, but sometimes people are desperate enough to do things they normally wouldn't do. If she ended it and said yes to you could be she truly wants to be with you. You're the one who cheated on her twice and still asked her to be your wife. In any case, it's a bad way to start settling down together. Because if you can't communicate to one another and try to truly work for your relationship now, 20 years of marriage is just going to make it harder and bitter. Apparently they were talking on and off all summer and finally had sex when I was out of town with my parents. I guess she was the one who reluctantly ended it. It's not just the sex, it's that she was talking to her ex, who was married, all through the summer. She's just not ready for a lifetime commitment. Let's be honest, now that the ex is getting divorced, don't you think if you broke up with your fiance, those two would eventually get back into a FWB relationship at least? Confront her and get your answer. You will be able to tell if she is lying. If she cheated once she will do it again never fails. Marriage has a 50% chance of failure and that is when both parties are faithful and plan to stay together. Of the 50% of relationships that would survive 16% would survive infidelity. So 8 out of 100. And hoes are usually because of dollar and kids. I have zero sympathy for you to be honest. She shouldn't have done it, but she also shouldn't have forgiven you the first time or the second time you cheated on her. How dare you come here asking for advice on a cheating partner when you've already cheated on her? Absolute scenes. The pair of you need a slap and you need to split up. Based on other people mentioning you cheated, I looked back and saw your other post that mentioned you cheating. Okay, here's my take. She didn't just cheat, she had an affair with her ex, both of whom conspire to leave their respective partner to be together. Your relationship is done, man. I could see forgiving someone for kissing someone in the heat of the moment. I could maybe see forgiving a husband, wife for banging someone else one time for the one time. But this is repeated conscious decisions to maintain a sexual, emotional affair and planning to betray you further by leaving. Like, that's dead as history. How could you trust her ever again? Even if she did it to get even with you for cheating 6 years ago, forgiving someone for cheating only to turn around and do it back years later, it doesn't make sense. She's planning to leave you anyway. I cheated before. Not on my wife, but on a girlfriend or two. Not proud of this at all, but I've also been cheated on by a few. Never again will I subject anyone to that hurt. Time to cut your losses, and work on yourself. You cheated nearly a decade ago and she says she forgave you. Chances are she either held long-term resentment or would have cheated with her ex regardless. It was her choice to forgive you, it was also her choice to cheat. Follow the other wife's example and end the relationship. All four of you need to be separated. Unless you want to forgive her. That's your call too, but chances are you or her are going to continue cheating on one another. A cycle of resentment. The old relationship you had is dead, can't bring it back. You both have to look at the relationship where it is now and ask yourselves if this the person you want to be with and if this what you want your next relationship to be. If you cannot and proceed to get married while keeping this truth to yourself and not talking to her about it, then not only does it deprive both of you of a communication opportunity, but you're helping to build a bad foundation for a marriage. I see that people are having serious dilemmas. Meanwhile, my BF is threatening me to leave because I had a difficulty to solve a math problem. I just wanted to tell everyone that it is up to us to try to fix things and forgive whenever possible. Getting stuck in anger will only cause more harm. We really think we are the winners when we pretend to be authoritarian or adamant. Things would be different if we showed support or started to listen what the other person is trying to say. Not only hearing it but actually trying to understand where does the other person is coming from. I am not going to tell you what to do. Honestly, I would have never slept with another guy. Even a thought of that gives me a cringe. I know that people have feelings and I wouldn't like to hurt anyone. I am so sorry. I don't know your relationship outside of this and think it's always best to do what makes you happy regardless of what others think, but consider the fact that you're not married yet and can save yourself the headache of future heartache by dealing with this now by leaving. I will never understand the mindset of cheating, especially in something serious and real to the point of engagement. Something are easier said than done, but I would leave. You're right. How does one look you in the eyes after and say whatever? Since you're able to see this and say that, consider your differences. I also think women have more of a time limit to get married, only if they want kids, but you're a male in your 20s, you could possibly find someone who could never do that. Dating sucks for this reason, but there's women out there who have been hurt this way and would never do that. Just wow. Consider the source, for one thing. And then figure out whether y'all have shared ideas about monogamy and ownership, and if how you think you should want it to be is how you actually want it to be. Because y'all sound like you want an open relationship but don't think you should. Or worse, like one of you gets an open relationship and the other one doesn't. And please don't get married before figuring that out. Honestly, you both need help, you both cheated and you both are idiots. As simple as that. You're a bad match for each other, and it just seems like you both need help with learning how to be a decent human being and not a dumbass. And the fact that people are defending the girl is pathetic and just sad. Although I understand everyone needs advice on this app, I don't appreciate the one-sided posts. You'll get bias advice, and that's not beneficial to anyone involved. Skeptical smiley face. My advice is that it is possible to have sex with another person and still want to be with someone else. This happens, unfortunately, more often than not. If this is something that you will hold against her for the rest of your lives, then you need to end it. If you confront her about it and she's apologetic and realizes she fucked up, then there. She still loves you and wants you. But resenting her will ruin your relationship. The decision is in your hands. I have to wonder if maybe she was having doubts of the relationship if it was going on that long before he proposed. At that point she was weak and had a moment of lust with an ex. She more than likely didn't tell him because she was afraid he'd break it off and he stuck without him. Like, what if her having sex with the ex made her realize how much she actually loves Op? I'd have a serious discussion with her, talk about your values, how you feel about each other, let her know that you found out about the cheating, ask her why she did it, why she lied and kept it hidden. If you choose to forgive her, that's on you. But you still have to get married to her after forgiving her. Just tell her, I forgive you, but I see a future for us if neither of us can be faithful. We should take a break and see other people. If the feelings are still there and we decide to be more serious, then we will approach this again. Until then, let's step back and see where life takes us. You know what to do. But you're not going to do it. Even if you cheating before, it doesn't justify for her to do same. But be prepared for her to throw it in your face. But I wouldn't stand for it. If you just let pass, she is going to do it again. Especially now that her ex is going to be single again. Well, firstly, find out if it's true. Just because her ex-boyfriend's now ex-wife told you something does not immediately make it true. Course, it doesn't make it untrue either. Right now you have one version of an unconfirmed story. Before you make any drastic decisions, you need to get both versions of this story and then make up your mind who's telling the truth. How could she do it? Easy. After you cheated twice, she no longer respects you. If you think she hasn't always had resentment, you're an idiot. The only person I feel sorry for is the app's wife. At least you and your fiance share the same morals. A perfect match. No one here is going to feel sorry for you. Please don't make the mistake and marry this woman. You might be able to forgive, but you don't deserve to feel that way. My BF now made that mistake with his ex-wife. He has such a good heart and was with her for 10 years, but she cheated a bunch while they dated. This man forgave her and still married her. A few months into the relationship, she cheated again. In their bed. And then told him she wanted a divorce when she got caught. It's not worth it, bud. Time to cut that chick off. She said yes and never confessed because she's selfish. It's a cheater's bread and butter. Even if she ended up regretting it after, and is genuinely remorseful today, the fact that she never confessed and tricked you into marriage is sickening. Do yourself a favor and divorce or get an annulment if possible. Reconciliation takes 3 to 5 years of work with zero guarantee of success. In the time you won't be working towards the future, or enjoying married life, you'd instead be attempting to regain trust and move past insecurities, etc. Regardless of what you end up doing, get the divorce annulment. If you end up deciding to continue your relationship, there's nothing stopping you from doing so after things get settled in divorce. Actions have consequences, and it's clear as day that you wouldn't have gotten married all those months back if she had confessed. Your marriage is a sham, one gigantic lie that never should have happened. I'm sorry you're here, no one deserves that. Get a lawyer, STD test, expose the affair, and get yourself into therapy. You can figure out whether you want to move on or work things out once you've talked to the lawyer. No one should do what she did to anyone. If she was the right person for you, she wouldn't have even been able to do it. It should have made her sick to her stomach to even think of risking what you have. Sounds like she doesn't value you at all as much as she should, and she's the one who's going to miss out. I'm sorry, you're probably hurting a great deal. I think you should stay far away from her for good. Kudos to the ex-BF for being honest, and his ex-wife for reaching out to you. The reason she was able to do this is because she's a cheater. They don't have that part of their brain that allows them to have empathy, to care about how others feel. She wanted to have sex with this guy, and she had zero qualms about it hurting you. She only thinks about her own wants and needs. Throw the whole fiance away. You deserve better than THJS. Because most people believe that one mistake shouldn't cost you a lifetime of happiness. You are free to disagree, and I would respect your decision. Might make the same one myself, but I'm just saying, it's easy to rationalize. If I fucked up, do I really not deserve happiness anymore? And what would be the point to tell my partner? Just to hurt them? If you wanna break up, I support it. But there's a world, not saying it's this world, where I could see why she didn't tell you and accepted the engagement. I'd break up with her. To answer your first question. At the very least, postpone the wedding if you have set a date. My advice is not to confront her until you've had time to run a few scenarios. She may cry and ask for forgiveness or deny everything and tell everyone you're backing out. If she cries and begs forgiveness, I'd ask for space to see how you feel about this. A few weeks later, you should take that time to break up with her. If she denies she did anything, ask her for her password and access to devices and social media accounts. FYI, there are data recovery apps. I see a few idiots on here commenting on the fact you cheated on her, too, but ignore their stupidity. Sane people understand that something you did almost a decade ago, confessed to, and were forgiven for, has absolutely no bearing on this situation. Especially considering her ex was married, and they made plans for her to leave you, and 4 months later she accepts your marriage proposal after she had destroyed her ex's marriage. You need to make your decision based on those facts alone. Your behavior of 7 years ago is just background noise and has absolutely no impact on your next step, except for possibly to make you more understanding and forgiving.
Thank you for watching. And if you are new, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Don't forget to like and comment. That will help us continue.